Mr. O'Connor.
What is your real name?
Malcolm X.
We're speaking with Brother Tupac Shakur. How important is it to embrace an African name? Your parents gave you an African name at birth.
If you truly want serious freedom and serious liberation, and you want to have self-determination, how can you do that with the name that somebody else gave you? You know what I'm saying? The name from a person who didn't even respect you. You know? So when my mother gave me Tupac, I felt as though she literally liberated me at birth, cut the ties off me at birth, and set me free. You know, set me on the path to righteousness.
My day name is Kwame, and it means old-spirited.
My day name is Afua, and it means creative, deliberate, and strategic, and ambitious.
Murphy or Jones or Smith. No, that's the name that his slave master gave to his grandfather or great-grandfather, but that's not his name.
Well, his mother and father thought that was his name.
They didn't know any better.
Well, if they didn't know any better or not, they thought that was his name.
How do you say your name?
Fried chicken Nisha, collard graniqua, grape drank Asia, Africa Nisha Niqua.
Why do you have to go there?
What, you all of a sudden you're sensitive black people all of a sudden? What the hell? Whoa.
To enslave people, one of the first things you do is to take away their names.
Is that your legal name?
Man, I'm just trying to say your name.
Malcolm X. As far as I'm concerned, it's my legal name.
Would you mind telling me what your father's last name was?
My father didn't know his last name. My father got his last name from his grandfather, and his grandfather got it from his grandfather, who got it from the slave master. During slavery, the same slave master who owned us put his last name on us to denote that we were his property.
When they took us on that westerly course, then they forced us into their names.
Teach.
And they called us Smith, Jones, Robinson, Green, Brown, Hogg. A black man called Mr. White.
That's right.
And when we go to China,
Listen.
and we put our passport down, and the Chinese immigration control official looks at that passport and he sees Mr. White, he expects to see a white man.
Go ahead. Teach.
And when he sees the black man, he says, uh-oh, this man doesn't know who he is.
Teach, Muhammad.
What is your real name?
But many of us as black people today, we're very foolish people.
That's right.
Because we don't understand why another man gives you his name.
Teach, black man, Brandon.
Because when he gives you his name, the giving of another's name denotes possession.
Teach.
It means he owns you.
With Tupac, growing up with that name, you know, when I was a kid, I did stupid stuff. You know, what's your name, Joe? I didn't want that bright star within me, you know. But now I embrace it because it gives you character, you know. Every time I say, what is your name? Tupac. I have to say, what does it mean? You know what I'm saying? Why does that name? And it's good. It gives me a chance to express myself and express what I'm about and what I'm going to do. With a name like Joe, who cares what it means? You know what I'm saying? It means nothing.
A Chinese person were to say his name was Patrick Murphy, you would look at him like he's insane, because Murphy is an Irish name, a European name, or the name that has a Caucasian or white background.
Have you been to court to establish that
I didn't have to go to court to be called Murphy or Jones or Smith.
Okay, well, how do you say your name?
As long as you're walking in another man's name, he knows he owns you.
Would you mind telling me what your father's last name was?
My father didn't know his last name.
Combrisha, Congratulations, Barack Isha, Obama Niqua, Kool-Aid Drill.
The real names of our people were destroyed during slavery.
Was there any line, any point in the genealogy of your family when you did have to use the last name, and if so, what was it?
The last name of my forefathers was taken from them when they were brought to America and made slaves. And then the name of the slave master was given, which we refuse. We reject that name today.
My child's going to get an African name. I don't care. Real African names are wicked, man. I was at this casino in South Africa, right? I'm playing blackjack. Or African-American Jack. All right, I'm playing 21, right? And I look at the dealer, right? It was an African dude. I think they put this guy there just to confuse you when you're gambling. Because I looked at his name tag, I swear to God, the guy's name was spelt exclamation mark X-O-B-I-L-E. And I'm like, how the hell do you say that? So I'm not from there. I thought I'd take a shot, right? I'm like, yeah, could I get another card there, Somebody. Can I get another card there? Somebody. Symbolik! See, because I thought you had to start big, you know, because the exclamation was at the beginning of the name, right? Like, if it was a question mark, I'd be like, Symbolik? But it was an exclamation, so I'm like, Symbolik!
I just learned how to become me, I guess. To not be afraid of who I am, to show who I am, and like to not be ashamed of my past, like the history, you know.
It is the nature of the black man and the black woman.
They just look so cool. Everything about them is cool. The guy goes, my name is pronounced Bile. He had a click in his name. The guy's name was Bile. I don't care. My first child's getting a click in his name. I don't care, man. This is my son, Hustle.
And if it doesn't look proper for a person who is yellow or Chinese to be walking around named Murphy or Jones or Johnson or Bunch or Powell, I think it would be just as improper for a black person. He was taught the true history of our people and made aware at that time that he was wearing an English name, and by not being an Englishman, he looked out of place.
Does actually is liberate you and lets everybody know that you breaking those chains that this whole society has put on you when you came here. But don't just get an African name, get an African brain. You know what I'm saying? It's all about educating yourself first. You know, don't walk around with that name if you can't defend the ideals and if you don't even know your culture.
What is your real name?